Welcome back, everyone, to the Late Night Review. And tonight I'm really happy to get to the next installment in the Dirty Harry franchise, and that's The Enforcer with Clint Eastwood. The Enforcer, it's interesting. I really like this film. When I was a kid, The Enforcer was my favorite. And I love all the Dirty Harry films. I like all Dirty Harry movies, the Dirty Harry, Magnum Force, The Enforcer, Sudden Impact, the Deadpool. I love all four films. I really do. The Enforcer was my favorite as a kid. Today, I don't know exactly why that was because today it's not my favorite, but it's still a strong sequel. I do like The Enforcer. When I was a kid, it was my favorite, maybe because Clint Eastwood was going up against this terrorist group, these extremists who were well armed. They were armed to the teeth, and it was has a lot of action in it. Clint Eastwood is his usual rugged, tough Harry Callahan, gritty character self in here, and it's a good movie. Now, maybe one day in the future, I'll do a ranking of the Dirty Harry films. I'm not sure, but now I like Magnum Force better than The Enforcer. I'm not quite sure which Dirty Harry film I like the best because I love them all, but this is still one of my favorites. I think I like Magnum Force a little better than this one, and I already did a review of the original Dirty Harry and Magnum Force. If you want to watch those are available on my channel. I've already done reviews of those. Those are really great movies. These Dirty Harry films are some of my favorite action movies of all time. The Enforcer is a good installment. It's a very worthy addition to this franchise. Clint Eastwood brings the character of Harry Callahan to life more than anybody could. This role of Harry Callahan was offered to multiple different actors in the past. The first Dirty Harry was that movie was offered to multiple actors, but it was turned down. I think John Wayne turned it down. I think Frank Sinatra turned it down, and I think a couple others turned it down. But Clint Eastwood accepted it, and thank goodness he did. I think the others would have done a fine job, but Clint Eastwood, he was made for this. I think it was meant to be. This is one of his iconic characters, maybe the most iconic character that Harry Callahan, Clint Eastwood, it might be his most iconic character ever. And then the Dollar series, that was very iconic too. But I like the Dirty Harry movies better than the Dollars series, even though that was fantastic. I do like the whole Harry Callahan mystique, his character, how he is, his personality. It's very fascinating and interesting. And his partner in here, the lady that plays the female lead, she was in Cagney and Lacey. I remember when I was a kid, my parents watched multiple shows on TV. Cagney and Lacey was one of them. And then also in the Star Chamber, the blonde-haired lady, she was in the Star Chamber, I believe, with Michael Douglas. That was one of my favorite movies. But yeah, Cagney and Lacey, we watched when I was a kid. I didn't really search the shows out. It's just my parents were watching them, and then I watched them too. They watched the Hill Street Blues was another one. Multiple Alice, Barney Miller, all that nostalgia is coming back. Uh, Benny Hill. Grew up watching a lot of those shows, but yeah, and she plays the main female lead in here, and her role, she's just coming in. They're signing her as a partner to Harry Callahan, and he hates having partners. He's always hated having partners. In part one, he didn't want a partner. Part two, he didn't want a partner. And here, he doesn't want a partner. And he's really against it because, he's very old fashioned. He doesn't want to have a female partner because his instinct is to protect and just want to, help her and everything. So he really is resistant to it. But then later he, accepts it, and they become friends, and obviously become partners. And there's not really any much romance between the two, although if the picture lasted longer and maybe that her character was drawn out more, they might have. But there's not really much romance in here between the two, but you could tell they like each other. They're friends. She does a really good job. And then Harry Callahan, Clint Eastwood, he starts to see, how she's helping him. They're both doing good work. He helps her at the beginning. She makes some big mistakes, but later she learns, and just like with anyone else, she picks it up and does a good job. And I really appreciate this film and the franchise. I think it's a good movie. I do like Magnum Force a little bit better than The Enforcer nowadays, but The Enforcer was my favorite when I was a kid. There's multiple actors in here that I'd seen in other films. One guy that plays one of the terrorists, he was in Any Which Way You Can with Clint Eastwood. I forgot his name, but he was in Forced Vengeance with Chuck Norris. He was the guy with the staff on the boat that fought Chuck Norris, and Chuck Norris defeated him. He's in this movie as one of the terrorists, and he's always done a good job in everything I'd seen him in. The guy in here with the blonde hair that has the knife, and by the way, all my reviews are pretty much spoiler reviews, unless I'm talking about a new film, but every review I've done so far are about films that have been out for years and years, films I have nostalgia for, films, most of them that I'd seen when I was a kid, so they've been out, many of them, for decades, and this is one of those. It's interesting. It's kind of sad, too. The guy that has the blonde hair with the knife in here, one of the terrorists, in here, kind of a good-looking guy. He's one of the terrorists in here. I think he died of stomach cancer not too long after this movie came out. I think he was pretty young, so that's sad. He's in here. There's multiple. I think Robert Mitchum's brother is in here. He plays. It's it's a kind of a cruel nickname, but his nickname is Fatso in here. He was Clint Eastwood's friend in part one, and I believe part two as well. He was in there, and then he's in here too. But I believe that was Robert Mitchum, one of the greatest actors of all time. I think that was Robert Mitchum's brother, and he's in here. I believe he gets wounded severely or killed. It's been a while since I'd seen this movie from beginning to end, but I've seen it a gazillion times when I was a kid. Watched it over and over again, and it's a good Dirty Harry movie. I like it. I really like it a lot, and I don't know how I would rank it if I ever did a ranking of the Dirty Harry films, but it's good. It's a good action film. Clint Eastwood is perfect for this role. Obviously, it's iconic for him, just like Stallone was iconic with Rambo and Rocky. This is a iconic role for Clint Eastwood. Arnold as the Terminator, that was iconic. Well, Harry Callahan and Clint Eastwood were perfect for each other. And I think it was meant to be. I do believe in destiny. I don't think everything is predetermined, but I do believe that some things are. And I think it was meant to be that he was Harry Callahan. Clint Eastwood brings him to life. He's rugged, he's tough, he's investigating. He's what you would expect in here. He's got that attitude, that personality. He gets stuff done, and he's determined to find these guys and take them down, and that's what he does. And his partner does too. And I won't, just in case you haven't seen everything from beginning to end, I won't say everything that happens, but it's a good story. I think it's a strong sequel. I don't think it's better than the first one or Magnum Force. The Deadpool, I really like the Deadpool a lot. Liam Neeson's in the Deadpool, by the way, and then a young Jim Carrey is in there. That's a really good movie. So maybe one day I will do a Clint Eastwood Dirty Harry ranking. Not sure about that. But this has a lot of action. The pacing is not slow. None of the Dirty Harry movies are slow to me. They all have a good clip, a good speed to them, good pace. I think that there's plenty of action, exciting parts of the story. And if you like action, if you like, especially like if you like Dirty Harry, that kind of movie, if you like Clint Eastwood and his films and you haven't seen this, you're in for a treat. I think you really, really will enjoy it. I still like it. It's one of my favorite action movies of all time. It was my favorite Dirty Harry film when I was a kid, but my tastes have changed over time, and It's strong, but I think I like Magnum Force a little bit better. But this is a good movie. It's a very good film, strong installment. If you haven't seen it, you're in for a good movie night, a good watch, especially if you like Clint Eastwood. This has been the Late Night Review. Please like and subscribe, share this video, tell your friends, let them know about it so they could see this type of content. Please give it a thumbs up. Thank you very much, everyone. Hype this up, please, and have a good night.